Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. It's time once again for another woeful dose of Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Brothers' latest DC Studios film, entitled Shazam! Fury of the Gods, may have led this weekend at the box office by earning just over $30.5 million domestically, but that was 43% less than what its predecessor earned during its opening weekend back in 2019. The reported production budget for this second Shazam movie is $125 million, which is $40 million more than the $85 million production budget that the original Shazam movie had in 2019. So while the first Shazam movie had an estimated break-even point of $212.5 million, which is calculated by multiplying its $85 million production budget by 2.5, the break-even point for Shazam! Fury of the Gods is considerably higher. In fact, we can more accurately estimate its break-even point because Variety reported that $100 million had been spent by the studio in marketing Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Thus, this means that the total cost for the movie is around $225 million, which is the sum of the film's reported $125 million production budget and the $100 million that the studio spent on marketing the movie. So instead of multiplying the film's production budget by 2.5 to get an estimated break-even point, we'll multiply the film's total cost by 2 for a much more accurate estimated break-even point. And hold on to your hats because that break-even point is $450 million, which is 3.6 times the film's production budget. But having a multiplier that's greater than 3 isn't actually uncommon for big-budget blockbuster movies. So back in 2019, the original Shazam movie's domestic opening weekend box office was just over $53.5 million, which was around 25.2% of what that film needed to earn in order to break even. Internationally, it had also earned $102 million during its opening weekend and had $3 million in advanced screenings, which gave it a global opening weekend of $158.6 million. This was 74.6% of what that film needed to break even. So the 2019 Shazam had an incredible opening weekend. This is simply not the case with Shazam! Fury of the Gods, because it hasn't come anywhere near close to earning that much money during its opening weekend. The movie's pathetic domestic opening weekend box office of $30.5 million was only 6.8% of what the film needs to break even. Combining that with its $35 million in international opening weekend box office gives Shazam! Fury of the Gods a global opening weekend of only $65 million. So not only is that only 41% of what its predecessor's opening weekend box office earnings were, that's only 14% of what it needs to break even. Thus, there's absolutely no way that this film is going to get anywhere near close to breaking even. And I'm not even sure if it will even reach $300 million globally. In attempting to understand why this film did so poorly, the most recent DC Studios film prior to Shazam! Fury of the Gods was 2022's Black Adam, which also failed to break even. So this could suggest a possible loss of overall interest in DC Studios films. And if that's the case, James Gunn's very unpopular decision to fire Henry Cavill last year from ever playing Superman again for DC Studios could be a contributing factor to the overall loss of interest and Shazam 2 having such an awful opening weekend. But regardless of the reasons, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is going to be a very expensive flop for Warner Brothers Discovery and its CEO David Zaslav, as well as DC Studios' two co-CEOs of James Gunn and Peter Safran. And I also think that it's very safe to say that a third Shazam movie is very unlikely. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to see more of our videos in the future and help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.